Hey guys, welcome to Bonding with the Beausejours.
What's going on, family? This is our first live episode that we're doing today, and we're super excited to do this. We're doing things a bit different this year. So, listen, while you guys are joining on, go ahead and like, subscribe wherever you are. Go ahead and share. Listen, let them know, let your family know, let your friends know, let your folks know that we are live, bonding with the Beausejours. Happy Friday to you guys. Man, it's been kind of a long week, man. I'm glad it's Friday. And what better way to spend your Friday than to, chill with us, bond with us?
Yeah, so I'm glad that you guys are here. Listen, if you're here, make sure you drop a comment. Make sure you engage with us because this is going to be something that is interactive with the conversation that we're having today, the discussion that we'll be talking about, even the icebreaker. It requires for you guys to also engage with us. So just make sure that you guys are engaged in the comments. If you're watching with us, talk back to us in the comments. Let us know that you're here. Drop your name. Let us know. Yeah, let us know that you're here.
Absolutely.
And so we see Jen on. So guys, just to give you guys the heads up, not only are we on YouTube, but we're also on our IG. So if you see us just looking back and forth at the screen, just bear with us. But we see Jen on here. Hey, Jen.
Absolutely. What's going on, Jen? Hi, I'm Jennifer. Yeah, like Lonnie said, guys, we'll be navigating between both YouTube and Instagram. Again, we're doing something new. We're live at you today. And again, if you're on Instagram, whether you're on Instagram or on YouTube, please go ahead and like, tag, subscribe, share, all of that. Go ahead and share with your friends, share with your loved ones. Let it be known that we are live tonight.
And we see somebody on YouTube named Ben. Hey, Ben.
What's going on, Ben?
He said this couldn't have been a better time for him. Well, listen, I hope you post something from our conversation that we're having today. So, just before we get started, we're going to kick things off with a little icebreaker. Before we jump into like the main conversation, we're going to kick things off with the icebreaker. So, you want to start with the icebreaker or you want me to start?
You go ahead.
So I was stuck between two. We kind of so guys, just to give you guys the a disclaimer. So we found this game, and it has like a number of icebreakers, number of stories, conversations for couples to be able to have with one another, and also friend groups to be able to have with one another. And so we picked out some topics from this game, and we just gonna kick things off too with the icebreaker. And also I see Kay just joined. Kay, so good to see you on here, bro. I see Melissa just joined. Hey, Melissa.
What's going on, guys? Thank you for joining. Welcome to our page. Welcome to our channel. We're live again today for the first time. So we're super excited with what we're going to be talking about today. If you guys saw the headlines, we're talking about relationship advice. So as Lonnie said, we pulled it from Christian culture as a game that has some real in-depth questions, some real interesting questions. So we picked a few out, and we're gonna go ahead and base our conversations based off these questions that we have here. So let's get into it. I'm excited. You said the icebreaker first, right?
Yeah. So the icebreaker. So the first icebreaker is um the first icebreaker is, what are you most thankful for in life so far, and what are you most thankful to God for this week? So you guys could also talk back to us in the comments too. Like, what are you most grateful for in life thus far? And then narrowing down to this week, like, what are you most grateful for this week?
Okay. I think for me, I don't know. It's so interesting because last week, I was, I think I was in the kitchen, or I was like, swallowing around like in the crib, and Lonnie and Ezra, our baby boy, they're just like on the floor, and they just have fun, and I paused for a second, and I was like, man, I really got a family. Like, I got a wife and kid, and they're like playing around, things like that. And I'm just like, so for me, sometimes when I take that moment to pause and to really think, it still baffles me. It's
Yeah.
still like a surprise, like, man, God, like, you really had this all prepared for me,
Right.
type thing. So to see, like, me having my own family, something that, again, I think I said in one of the episodes before, but this was like a desire of mine that came out of nowhere, when I was younger, and now to see it like right before my very own eyes, I think that's pretty dope. So I'm really thankful for that. Like, every day I'm thankful for my family. But there are some days where it's just like, man, it's like, am I living a dream or something? So I think is that's what I'm most thankful for in my life so far. Um, Thankful to have you by my side. Thank you that you know we have a child together. We have a baby together. So it's really a blessing for me. I think for this week, you said the second part of it is this week.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. I'm just thankful I made it through the week, man. To be
It's
honest with
been
you,
a long week.
it's been a long week. And I'm just thankful that that we made it through the end of the week. I'm just thankful just for life in general. I'm alive at the end of the week, and I'm just grateful.
Yeah. I see also Ben wrote on YouTube, he wrote he's most thankful for family. So
Yeah,
I think that's like the consistency, because for me, I would say the same thing. Like, I'm grateful for family. Like, there's some moments where I'm like, and this might sound funny to y'all, but there's some moments where I look at Daniel, I'm like, yo, you're really a dad.
yeah,
Like, you're really somebody's dad. Just to, like, when you kind of reflect back, I remember when we first met and like some of the things we were discussing we want out of life, and now to like make those things happen together is really a blessing. And so I would say the same thing. Like, I'm grateful for family. I'm grateful for like the moments that I spent in prayer, praying for these things, praying for family, praying for like just even my children before they came about, and like now to be living it out is really a
absolutely.
blessing. Also, you guys that's on IG tuned in for us. Like, these questions go for you guys too. Like, what are you guys most grateful for? And then what's something that you're thankful for even up until this week?
Absolutely. This is a live that's engaging. This channel is called Bonding with the Bossageurs, and so we want you guys to, bond with us. Let us know what you guys think. What are you guys grateful for in life in general? This week in particular, did something, amazing happen? Did something like, like out of the blue happen where God was just like, you know what? I'm gonna just go ahead and do this for you, and it just came unexpectedly. So what are you guys thinking?
Yeah.
And while you guys are like, writing whatever you're writing in the comments, again, if this is your first time coming to our page, again, this is Bonding with the Bossageurs. I'm Daniel Bossageurs. This is my wife, Lonnie Bossageur. And, this page is just, it's catered to you. It's dedicated to you. We talk about so many things. We talk about family, life, love, faith, all of those things, and we share our experiences, what we've experienced together so far in our marriage. We're going to be making 3 years this year, this April.
Yeah.
So we have, some things that we want to share with you guys. That at the end of the day, that blesses you.
Yeah.
All right.
And then also, and then my last one that I couldn't choose between, this one was the one that was like, it was funny. If you created a movie about your life, what would the title be?
I have to think about that one. I really gotta think about that one.
Okay, said not to be deep, but I'm grateful for the breath in my body.
Come on.
Listen, not to be deep, but to be deep, okay? Like, that's a big deal, to be honest. That's a big deal with like so many different things happening in the world. To be able to wake up another day it's a big deal. I'm grateful. Jennifer said, I'm grateful for the continued healing taking place in my life, because I could stay stuck a certain way in my mind and spirit, but God is faithful. For sure. For sure.
We got Koya that just joined. The birthday girl. The birthday girl.
What in the world?
Sorry, she getting calls.
Okay, let us know. Can y'all still hear us?
I think they can.
I think Koya's responded to. Okay, you guys can still hear us. I think Koya's responded to the title of the movie. Honestly, and this wait before I mention, well, while you're still thinking about your title, right? Jen's comment speaks so much to the title that I was like, if I had to think of a title of a movie, or if I had to think of a title to give life, right? For me, I would say the movie would be called The Evolve. I don't know if anybody would go in theaters to go and see this, but I would say the Evolve experience, because for me personally, I feel like life is about constantly evolving. Like, it's so important for us to continue to evolve in life, because if not, you'll stay stagnant and the time is going to pass by and things are going to pass you by, and it's just like, I feel like life has to consist of us continuing to grow, continuing to evolve, continuing to allow God to heal us, like Jen had mentioned in the comments, heal us, work on us, like internally, And so I would say the evolve experience.
You went deep there. For me, listen, talking about movies, I'm like an action movie guy. I like mysteries, so it's like because I feel like for most movies, I'm able to figure it out like when we're like halfway there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I define a great movie as one where it's like there's like a huge surprise in the end that I didn't expect. I'm like, oh wow, no, that was a good movie. So I don't know what the title of my movie would be, but I just know the genre. Like it would be centered around like action, drama, and like so many like surprises that come like throughout the movie. I think it would just be centered around that. I don't know what it would be called though. Like what do you title something like that?
I don't know. Anybody got an answer for him?
I don't know. I need some time to think about that. But I just know I know what the genre would be. I know what it would center around. But I just don't know. And I like action movies, like Fast and Furious is like my go-to.
Okay.
So it's like I feel like I'd be like somewhere in the movie. I'd hop into a car and I start swerving through like the streets and
But like, but that's. But it's if you had to give your life a title of a movie.
I don't know. What do you title that? That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Oh man, what about y'all? Koya said, "Well, you have to figure out what the plot is first, and then the name will come." What about y'all? If you had to give your life a title, a movie title, what would it be? Ben, if you had to give your life a title of a movie, what would it be?
Oh my God, Ben, he rocking with us on YouTube, man. Shout out to you, Ben.
Sequoia is trying to give you advice on how to come up with a title. She said, and use your ideas to go with the title. But wait, she wrote in the comments, how do you turn a boy into a man? That's what 23 Stories of My Life. That's the title of hers. She said to say relationship advice. That's not what we're talking about. We're gonna get there, Koya. We gotta get there. P just joined. P, so the question is, if you had to give your life a title of a movie, what would the movie title be?
The Evolve. What was it called again?
Mine was called The Evolve Experience.
The Evolve Experience. I'd probably call mine like The Mystery Experience or something like that.
Your life is a mystery?
Like at the end of the movie, there's no like resolve or like there's no like I feel like the movie would be ongoing. Like at the end, it would just leave you asking questions. Mm-hmm. Like wait for part 2, and then part 2 would be part 3. lead into part three, and then part three will lead into part four. I guess it's like
an
a never
ongoing.
ending. It's an ongoing sequel.
Okay.
It's an ongoing sequel. So I
Okay.
think I'll leave it. I think I'll leave it like that.
Okay. You want to go with your icebreaker question?
Sure. So I picked this one out. I thought this was pretty cool. So, what's your favorite Christian song or Bible passage?
Peach's title would be Peanut Mother. That's funny.
So, yeah, your favorite Christian song or Bible? We do both.
Okay. So my favorite. So it depends, right? Like there's I feel like there's the go-to songs where like I'm just in the mood where I want to listen to like if I want to listen to something upbeat,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like my go-to is I don't have a go-to song I can't think of right now. My go-to song,
Like what's her name?
Madison Ryan Ward.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's the artist that I'll go to if I need like something like upbeat R&B. This is like while I'm probably cooking or driving or something. But if I am in like a mood where it's like worship, I'll probably turn on. If it's not the African worship, I'll turn on. I like Melvin Crispell. I like him. I'll turn on Todd Delaney. Todd Goldberg is also another one. So I don't really have. So okay, I'll give a song "No Failure" by Melvin Crispell. That's like one of my favorite. And "My Help" by Todd Delaney. Those are my two favorites.
Okay.
What about you? Guys, what about y'all? Y'all can share. What's the go-to song? Your go-to worship song? Go-to scripture? Like, what's a song in a scripture that really resonates for you, and that's like been so impactful, or like something that has spoke to you during rough moments, rough seasons, or even has gotten you through some like joyous, like has been a joy for you.
For me, like that's another one where I'm focused on like the genre because I love Afro gospel.
Okay.
So Afro gospel is my thing. I don't know if I have a go-to song though. I feel like number one, I need to update my playlist. It's been a while since I updated my playlist, but when I was listening to it, I had Amos, I think his name is Ramos. So it's just for a while it was the one that we that we danced to at our reception, Far Away by Amos.
Okay.
Far Away and Holy Ground by Amos. So I think those were like really my go-to songs. But I think I'm probably focused on the other part where it says like, your go-to Bible passage. I think, I feel like you could answer it, but like every day when we pray, I like to pray, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. That's it. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like when I pray that passage, it's like, I don't know. It does something where like it strengthens my faith in that moment. Like I feel like not only me but my family, those who I pray for. When I pray that scripture, no weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises up against you shall be condemned. Like it's like there's like an automatic hedge of protection by God in that moment. It's like no matter what the enemy tries to throw at you, no matter what the enemy tries to do, it won't work. Especially when you're using the word of God as a shield. So I think that's like my go-to.
Yeah, I think for me it's I didn't. So wait, let me acknowledge also in the comments we got K is old school. He said, I bet you know Andre Crouchers.
Sounds familiar.
So he said "My Tribute" by Andre Crouch, and
Uh-huh.
then the verse is Psalms 124:1. If it had not been for the Lord who is on our side. I don't know why. I don't know. So I don't know if I ever told you that he's also a preacher.
Mm.
I could just hear him preaching that. But Peaches said "We Gonna Be Alright" by Ty Tribbett.
That's your father's song too.
We gonna be alright, right?
Is
That's
that the
that.
song? Yeah.
No,
You
pop
had the
song
song.
is "Only One Night" though.
Oh, my bad.
Oh man. And then Yana Lovely said, "Hey, hey, thank you for joining us." And then Jen said her song is "God Will Work It Out" by Marek City and "One Name" by Naomi. Peaches said that's her song too. I'm trying to. I feel like I was just listening to. It's T. What T? Oh, T from church. Hi, T.
What's going on, T?
I'm like, I feel like I was just listening to One Name like recently, but I forgot. I don't know that song. Like I don't know it in depth. If I had to choose a scripture, it's two that comes to mind. I know it's, and both of them are in Isaiah. I believe it's Isaiah 55. There's scripture that talks about um, the Lord's word won't return to him void. Like he said, my ways are not your ways, neither are my thoughts your thoughts. And like if this, so is the sun, I mean, so is the snow, like the rain comes down to the earth and it does not return back to, so shall my word be that won't return back to me void. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me correct myself. So shall my word be that won't return unto me void, but it shall accomplish whereto I sent it. And that scripture, it resonates with me because it's the constant reminder that whatever God says, he's going to do it.
Yeah.
And like it gives the hope and a reassurance to continue to contend after what the Lord has said, whether it's something that God has said to you personally or just what he's promised in his word, like to continue to contend after it. Because I feel like sometimes when different things happen, right, like we could when different things happen, we could like sometimes be shaken up, but that word is the constant reminder and the builder of our faith that listen, so shall my word be, like that comes out of my mouth, it won't return unto me void, but it shall accomplish like whereto I sent it. And so um yeah, that's, I think I'll stick with that one.
That's really good.
um
So those were the icebreakers for you guys, just for us to like, kind of settle in. But as you guys see in the title, relationship advice, that's the main thing we're going to focus on for the rest of this live. So, buckle up. We're going to talk about relationship advice for just a little bit. So, um, before we even like, talk about what's being asked of in the card, I do want to say probably the main advice that I feel like that could go for every relationship, and I believe you'll agree, is your relationship is yours. Your marriage is yours. Your if you're courting, dating, that's yours. And it's very important not to let. And I'm not saying like this is the best relationship advice, but I think this is like just a foundation for every relationship. Not to allow others to infiltrate or influence the relationship that you have. I think that's like probably the most important thing. As we're about to, talk about relationship advice, I think the main advice that we would like to give to you is don't allow others to try and infiltrate your relationship, right? Because I feel like it happens a lot of times where um, you're listening to this person, you're listening to that person, and you're bringing that into the relationship, and so now things aren't going so well. So I think the focus, like, you know, for both the man and the woman, just focus on each other. I think that's the main thing. I want to get that out before we continue.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that because, like, so the question is, right, best of relationship advice that you've ever heard. And for me, like, that was one of the things that I was gonna say. Like, one of the best things that I could have ever heard was,
Mm.
well, I'm probably shed light on a few of them, but I was gonna talk about that, and like that was something that my father was always so big on. Like, never let nobody infiltrate, never let anybody. No, you good, but that really is like something that's so important, and I think it applies all across the board. Like,
Yeah.
never allow anybody to infiltrate, because
Right.
the thing is, I feel like when you, yeah, and not only that, like when people, like some conversations, right? When you have conversations, when you allow others to like even put their opinions, and those things could become seeds, and now you're bringing those seeds into your relationship, your marriage, like, and it's like little things that you probably would have been willing to like work out or be okay, or like be okay with. Now you find yourself, you got this person, this voice in your head, and now it's like you're making something, like something that was a seed that was planted. Is like, okay, now this thing is spreading, you know. And so, like, just not allowing people to infiltrate, not mentally or emotionally, like just by verbally, just not allowing folks to infiltrate. So that was a good one for starters.
Guys, if you haven't done so, I know I said it in the beginning already, and I probably said it a few minutes ago, but if you're joining us on Instagram or YouTube, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, share, you know, let others know that we're live, all right? And thank you guys for joining. I hope everyone's doing well again.
And also, you guys could comment, like, what's the best relationship advice you ever heard too, like in the comments, whether it's YouTube or Instagram. Like, you guys comment what's the best relationship advice that you've ever heard too. Because although we're talking about it, we also want to hear back from you guys.
You got yours? You ready to?
I mean, you could, like, the foundational thing that you started, the point that you laid.
Yeah.
That was one out of a few, few points that I was going to point to. So.
Yeah, because that was one of the, and that I felt like that was great advice. I want to share like one of the funniest, probably if not the funniest, advice I heard. So, you know, I was, you know, born and raised in Haitian Pentecostal church, and I know it was after I transitioned and went to a different church, but I just remember when I brought Lonnie to see my former pastor, former bishop, and you know, he was, you know, giving some, and I believe it's sound relationship advice. But one of the things that was so funny to me, but in a sense, it's kind of true, but it's just, but he said, now that you're stepping into marriage, essentially, there's no more friends. Like you don't have no friends. Your wife is your best friend, and that's it. Like there's no friendships outside of this. There's nothing, like there's no, like, you know, there's none of that. Like the only friend that you have in this earth is your significant other. So there's no talk about friends or anything like that. And I really thought that was just funny to me, because it was like, man, like, and he's serious about this too. And I thought that was interesting, because I don't know, it brought me to, I don't know if this is like a Haitian thing. I don't know if it's like, but
so you're no besties.
So it brought me to when my mom, when I was a child, and I would tell my mom, like, you know, I got this friend, I got that friend, and my mom would say, you know, there's no friends here. You don't have no friends. Your only friend is Jesus. I just remember that. So I don't know if it was like, if that's how it is like in the Haitian Pentecostal church, or it's like you're not allowed to have friends as like, you know, I don't know. I don't know if it's like you just can't have friends in general, or if like I don't know what's going on with that, but that's just what it brought me back to. I think that was like probably one of the like funniest uh, advices that I heard. But I understood. I understood that in terms of like stepping into marriage, transitioning into marriage, your friendship should be like like your friendship should be the focus, right? Your friendship should be the focus in the marriage. And again, I think it points back to what we were saying earlier about not allowing other like influences to try and like invade your marriage or invade your relationship. So I think that was um, important.
It's just like, oh, your friends are flying.
That's a fact. That's a fact. I think that's really what it was. I don't know if there's like trauma behind that or there's a whole bunch of like things that I don't know what it is, but I don't know why they think
But
we
T
can't
said
have
that
friends.
she was told that too, though.
I don't know. Well, T's husband is Haitian. So,
oh, for real?
Yeah, no.
No, not T, not Tarshia.
Oh.
T, Kasim's sister T.
Oh, my bad. I got that. I'm sorry. But yeah, so I'm thinking about that, and it's like.
But you know what? I think, to be honest, like when it comes, I feel like, I don't know what I perceive from that. It's like, not that you can't have friends, right? Because the reality is we have friends. And so it's not that you can't have friends, but I think it's like the highest form of friendship. Like your best friend is your significant other. And I think that to me that's sound advice, because I feel like in marriage you should, like, that's your spouse should be your best friend. Like that should feel like the person that you could confide in about everything, the person that you're most comfortable with, the person that you could like, for guys, you could take off your cape from being Superman. Like for women, you could let down your hair. Like that should be the person that's like, yo, it's like, you could just, that was me. That sign was like, that sound effect was me like laying down the weight, like just, this is the person I could be most vulnerable with. Like that's what I take it as. Like, okay, your spouse is the highest form of friendship you have, like in the earth. That's because I feel like mutually you should be able to have that vulnerability with one another.
So I'm okay to have friends. I'm just asking.
You have friends. Like, what are you talking about?
Is it okay if they stay friends? That's what I'm saying. Like, if they could.
Your friends is family.
It sounds like you was agreeing with my former pastor.
What you mean? I know my role. I'm your best friend. Oh yeah, that's so true, Jen. Not going to bed angry. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I said Jen. That was T. Not going to bed angry is another one. Doesn't always feel realistic, but it helps. That is so true. That's something that I was told too. That was something that my parents, they were like, never let the sun go down and you guys are not talking to each other. Like never go to bed angry with one another. I'm telling you, like that was something that my parents stressed. Like I would say that was also another one that I heard too.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and say the best relationship advice that I heard, and it was actually on our wedding day.
Oh, me too.
Oh, so he's gonna go with your mom said?
Oh. Yeah, it was. Oh, that's crazy. Shout outs to her. But what part? No, what part? Because
it was just the part where she said, essentially, with us being one, there's no, one like going far ahead of the other, but you pull your hand back, and whoever's ahead, like you pull your hand back and bring your significant other up with you. Yeah. So it's like we're always attached and always at one. So wherever one advances, you pull the other one back. You pull the other one and bring them with you. So exactly. I think that's probably one of like the best relationship advice I heard. I remember I was just sitting there and I was just like, I was like, man, like I'm so wise. So I think that was like really what stuck with me.
That's funny. That's crazy how like in sync we are, because that's exactly that's the same exact one that I was gonna go with on our wedding day. Just like the words that my mom shared with us, and like another point that she had mentioned was marriage is always becoming, and like how and for me that just like that makes me think about the fact that, because I feel like sometimes we could get like complacent in relationships,
Yeah.
right? And like just and get too comfortable, and it's like, all right, like this is it. But you're always becoming, meaning that the relationship, the marriage should always be growing. It should always be evolving, right?
Yeah.
And so just when you think that you've gotten to one place, it's like, no, don't get completely comfortable there, but continue to grow with one another. And so that was something. And then going back to, if one is going ahead, you just pull your hand back, and you like
Yeah.
don't leave your partner behind. So
Yeah.
that was like something that really resonated with me. And I feel like in the past few years, we see that, like, all right, it's always becoming like,
Mm-hmm.
it's always growing together. It's always becoming.
It's always becoming.
And like even the areas where it's like, all right, if one is more like, if one is aware of something, it's like, all right, we sharing that with each other because we're
Yeah.
both growing, like,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, it
Oh
really makes you
wow.
think.
Wow, okay. Best relationship advice I ever received was watching your pops love your moms. Wow.
Oh, that's real sweet.
No, that is.
Absolutely. They the OGs.
They are.
They the OGs,
They really are. Like,
man.
oh man.
They really are the OGs. So what would
That's deep. I can't wait to tell pops that you said that.
man? I feel like I did. I already gave the advice because I was gonna ask you what would be um just another relationship advice you would give to um, a couple that's looking to transition into marriage? Like, what would be? Because I feel like I already said that earlier. Like, don't allow others to. I feel like there's something else that we could advise as they're transitioning into marriage. Like, what would that be?
Mm. Wow. What is something that I would share? I would say to keep God at the center.
Mm,
Like, I feel like that is so important. I feel like one thing that I would say, as beautiful as it is to spend the rest of your life loving an individual and growing with the individual, like anything that is worth something valuable, anything that is um, anything that is worth something valuable, anything that that carries weight, it requires work. Um,
yeah.
and marriage is covenant, right? It's covenant. It's something that it's a commitment that we make before God, right? And so yes, we love the beauty of it, but it's work. And so I would say, and I feel like in order to do that, in order to do life, in order to like really continue to endure with
Yeah.
one another, I think it's so important to keep God at the center. Um, like,
Absolutely.
yeah, because there's some things that just, it's like there's yeah, that's just it. Like, that's the best advice that I could say, is to keep God at the center. And I know that it probably sounds like, oh yeah, like that sounds like, oh, something that I've heard before, or that sounds like something that is like, like, of course, who wouldn't say that? But I feel like because we are living it, right? Like what it means to keep God at the center. And I feel like, to be honest, if we could be transparent, like those time, like those moments, like being consistent in prayer together, right? That's one of the ways you keep God at the center. And I feel like we could feel when, if we haven't prayed with each other in like a little while, we could feel that, like, oh yeah, nah, we gotta, like,
Yeah.
and it doesn't even have to be things directly impacting like the marriage, but it could be things like just impacting around us, like, yo, what is happening? Like, nah, we gotta be in prayer together. And so just keeping God at the center is so important.
Because I feel like it just recalibrates you. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? It keeps your mind in focus. It keeps your peace. You know, so I think
Yeah.
it's just like you mentioned, like if there's a stretch where like if it's been a while, if we pray together, then we feel that, and then after that, after like that moment of like actually like, hey, come on, let's like go ahead and see God together.
Hmm.
It's like, dang, there's like a settling in the mind. There's like a settling in the heart. Like it's like you feel like the hand of God like keeping us anchored. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So I think that's important. That's like great advice because again, where else are you gonna learn? Like how to love. Where else are you gonna learn how
Right.
to be patient? Where else are you gonna learn these things?
Yeah.
Jesus emulated that like day by day.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's something important. It's funny that we're actually, doing the series of like, the fruit of the spirit. We're talking about love this month, and like, just so many things that we've learned concerning or learned and taught about the fruit of love. So I think that's just something important, which is again to like keep the relationship centered on Jesus. I think that's very important.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's funny that I'm saying this but because I've learned how effective this is, um, that's just something that you just gotta pass along to others, and that's like communication,
Mm.
like constant communication.
Hmm.
No matter how big it is, how small, like whatever it is, because you share everything. You share everything. You share where like you about to go to the car and come back. Like you share everything,
Right.
but that keeps like that keeps the rhythm going. I don't know. Like that's the best way I could put it. Like that just keeps the rhythm going. The rhythm of the marriage, the relationship. That's what keeps it going. And whether you're married or you're looking to get married, transitioning into marriage, like the communication is going to play a heavy part.
Yeah.
I feel like because again, this is your partner, this is your best friend, this is your your lover. Like this is somebody that you're going to be spending the rest of your life with. Like, can you imagine like just spend the rest of your life with somebody and you're just not really like communicating like that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like communication is a key. It gives you perspective. You know what I'm saying? It gives you understanding.
Hmm.
It gives you vision. I feel like it just, you know, and it gives you insight on where you are and where you can head towards.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like in terms of your purpose, I feel like communication plays a part, in every area of a marriage. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then also, I feel like the communication, it helps you to get to like know the person more. Yes. And get to learn the person. And so imagine walking with somebody and it's like you walking together, but there's not no communication. So it's like I don't really know you, but when you communicate more, you get to know one another more. And so, like to me, I feel like it helps with being able to be like, oh yeah, like if let's just say that something I don't know, like I can't think of an example, but it's like you'll know something simple. Like you could go in the store and be like, oh yeah, like I know that you like this, or I know that you would want this, or like because it's like I know you. We communicate. Like for example, even as far as like, okay, when it's time to give gifts, right? I could surprise you with a gift of something that you want, not just because I know you, because like, oh, your taste or something, but just from communicating, like, oh, you know what I saw, like just little small talk, right? Yeah. Like those little conversations, absolutely. Like, and I feel like communication is a major part, to be honest, of relationships. Like, and not only that, a lot of times, right, we could keep things in our head. Like we could keep certain things just in our head. And I feel like communication helps with like it helps with that. Like so that you don't ever think that things gotta just stay in your head. Like you don't have to think that things gotta just stay in your head. You know that you have an outlet, like you could outside of prayer, outside of, relationship with the Lord, that like I just need to just let this out. That's part of communication, like so that emotionally you could share whatever it is that you got going on internally. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Um,
Guys, you guys got anything? I'm
T
looking to see
was
if there's anybody that said anything.
T was giving some good ones.
Oh, what'd she say? I'm trying to go.
We had spoke about it
Oh, the
about the
anger.
going to bed
Yeah,
angry.
yeah, absolutely. I
I
think there's
think
some.
that's. What would you say? Would it be the same thing? Or something that?
Yeah,
Oh
like
yeah, you said communication. I'm bugging. I'm sorry. Communication.
yeah. So I'll say that communication, keeping down at the center. Um, you know what I started to think about that moment. I got in trouble. Yeah, I'm about to tell on you. I got in trouble one day
Whatever.
because I say communication because it's like um, it's very important. I got in trouble one day because um, it was around Christmas. It was before Christmas. I went ahead and got Ezra something, you know. And I believe Lonnie, she told me what she was getting Ezra. I just because it was just the day was busy, I guess, and I was just like, yo, I need to just make sure I make my orders, like, So I ended up getting Ezra something, and I just remember I was on the phone. I believe I was on the phone with my sister, and I was, rambling, talking, and then I ended up saying, yeah, like, I got Ezra something,
No, no, no.
and
He
then
was going down a list of the different gifts he got.
okay, and I guess her antenna raised up, so she was just like, "You got Ezra something? You didn't communicate that to me." And it was at that moment I was like, "Oh man, I messed up." So the sweat ball started to like go down like the
Right.
back of my ear, so I started being like, "Oh man, I didn't share that with you." So it's important to essence of it is it's important to communicate. Men, I'm talking to the men here because you want to avoid getting in trouble. That's probably what
It wasn't even trouble. It was not trouble. I didn't make a big deal out of it. I was just like, I'm like, we were talking in conversation. I shared with you like, oh, these are the different things I'm gonna order him or whatever the case may be, and like,
So,
it wasn't trouble. It was just like,
so
why you ain't tell me?
so take my advice, man, especially to the men. Like your significant other, she loves to communicate. She loves to talk. Embrace those moments. Embrace those moments, and just allow yourself to be vulnerable to communicate. Also, to communicate, to share your thoughts, share what's going on in your mind. I think that's something that will go a long way. I really believe that will go a long way because I feel like I've come a long way from somebody who didn't communicate much. I just handled my business and went about my day, and then I met Lonnie. Everything changed. I really feel like the ways there's ways that God he deals with me personally, right? Um, but then there's moments where he works in my heart. He works in the conditions of my heart and my mind. He deals with me in those manners through my wife. Um, because it's like, you know, I could be going about my business doing something, and then Lonnie would just point something out. I'm not trying to be like funny. I'm being serious. Like you point something out that I would like, essentially have to pay attention to. So, you know, it's in those moments. Like, it may seem small, but it goes a long way. Um, I firmly believe that.
Yeah, that's true.
T said I was going to say God for sure, and knowing your partner, we change all of the time. Watching them, learning them, and like you said, communicating. Yeah,
That's so
absolutely.
true. That is so true.
Yeah.
We do change all the time, like, and that's why, and that's why, like, communication is important. And like you said, watching them, learning them, and listening, like that, because again, we change all the time. And so even when we notice, like little things change it, and whether it's like changes where it's like, hey, like things that's been talked about, right? Or whether it's just like, okay, I noticed that um like prime example, it's funny, right? Prime example, it's funny that he had mentioned like we change all the time. When I reflect back, and I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but like I remember when we were courting or dating, we took like we did the what is it, the five love languages.
Mhm.
And I think growing together, what may have been our love languages as two people courting when we just met, like it's not the same. Like I feel like in a sense, like it's shifted a bit. Like it's shifted a bit. I don't know. And so again, like you said, like those changes, like you change over time. Like things that may have been, you know, important at one season, it's like okay, the season has shifted, and so now this is more something, like this is something that we got to pay more attention to.
Yeah.
Or like so.
Absolutely.
And I think listening is also, like you said, like listening is something that's important too, because sometimes, right, like I know for me, because I communicate a lot, right, like I feel like the listening part is also something that I have to pay attention to, and also listen to what's also not being said, right?
Mhm.
Like listen to what's not being said. Like if something is not being said, but you feel something, is like, okay, now let's talk about this so that you could be able to address something and then hear like hear what's not being said
Yeah.
so that it can be said. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. I think one more thing, because now it's starting to like flood in, but like I think another thing. This is probably the last thing I'll say. Um, Enjoy those moments of transition. Embrace those moments. It's not just about when you're high and you're up, but then there will be moments and seasons where you feel down. I would say embrace all of it. Embrace all of it with your partner, because it is in those moments, in the moments of transition, you're transitioning from one season to another, and you're trying to figure out where God is taking you next. You're trying to figure out what's going on here, whatever it is. To embrace those moments with your partner, because it's in those moments that you'll truly learn a lot, about your partner, how strong he or she is, how how you guys are able to like endure together, how you guys are able to persevere together.
Yeah.
And no matter what the season is, that at the end of the day, you're not in it alone, but you have your partner by your side that's going through it with you, right? You have no you there's no option of you going through it alone.
Yeah.
Right? There's no option of you going through it alone. So you might as well go through it together. And I think in those moments you'll learn a lot about each other. You'll learn a lot about each other, and it's a blessing.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a blessing at the end of the day. So I would say that too. That's probably the last thing I'd say.
Yeah, because it's the reminder that you're not enduring by yourself, like
Yeah.
that you have somebody that's going through it with you, like,
Mhm.
and I feel like also like those moments, like I love that you said embrace the transitions, because it's not just that, like the highs, we love those, everybody love the high moments,
Yeah.
right? But it's like it's those transitional moments, it's those low moments,
Yeah.
all of that, it strengthens the relationship even
Yeah.
the more, because it's like, yo, you stuck with me like in this season, or you were patient with me in this time period, like,
Yeah.
like even when like one of us may have been difficult, or one of us, like it's like, but you were patient with me,
Yeah.
like, and for that you appreciate the person even more, you value them even the more, you respect them even the more, and I feel like it helps the love to even grow even the more, because it's like, yo, anybody could stick with somebody through the high moments,
Mhm.
right? Like,
When things are good.
but when things are good, anybody can endure through those. But it's like those rough moments, to be able to stick it out together is
Yeah.
like basically like the love just standing the test of time, of
Oh man, that's so good.
transitions, of
Yeah.
hardship. Like,
Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah, he said growing with the person is so rewarding. And Melissa says, speaking of love language, the love languages, it's important to love your partner the way that they want to be loved. That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
That's true. Because sometimes we could love how we we could love in a way that how we receive love. Sometimes, no, I'm sorry, the way that we receive love, that's how we could show our love. But it's important to be mindful of how the person receives love so that we could love them the way that
Right.
they know to be like
Right.
they like to be loved.
Right.
This was good. This was
Good
good.
stuff.
I was laughing when I was reading T's comment where she said like even a certain food now I can't eat it. My husband continued to buy the food that I can't eat anymore. Like that's so funny because it reminded me of like when it reminded me of that time period they had just built crumble cookies by our house, and I was like, oh my gosh, can you please just stop and get crumble cookies?
Every
Like,
day.
no, it was not every day. It was every week because we would share the box for like a few days, and then
I'm
it would
saying
be.
we had crumble cookie every day.
And like the following, and I remember once I got pregnant, I was like, yeah, I don't like sweet stuff. So it was like crumble cookie. No, I'm good. It was,
Dang,
yeah.
It took you getting pregnant for us to stop crumble cookie. Ever since then, man, we haven't had it.
Yeah, we haven't. I wonder what flavors they have.
Oh my goodness.
I was just joking. No, but this was good, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have not saw the latest episode that we have on our YouTube channel, you guys should go ahead and that pregnancy will do it. It'll change up all your appetite. But if you guys have not seen the latest episode that we have on our YouTube channel, things that we learned from 2024 or things that 2024 taught us, I want to encourage you guys to go check it out. Make sure you leave a comment and share with us. Also, I think one of the questions that we asked was like, what's some of the like what lessons did you learn in 2024? What is a scripture that you feel like really resonated or spoke to you in the year 2024? And we shared some other things just about our personal experience in 2024. That was a major year for us, a year of learning, growing, and transition. And we talked about it in that episode. And also, we're going to be doing, so our episodes are released on the first Friday out of the month. And then I want to say, what is it, like the third Friday?
Second Friday, no?
No, it's the first.
Oh.
It's the first Friday out of the month. And the third Friday, we'll be doing live. So you guys will see us more.
This is the third Friday. Communication.
You guys will see us more. Just stay tuned for the next upcoming episode. It'll be released on the first Friday, which is soon, and then we'll be live again on the third Friday. And so I'm glad that you guys tuned in with us today. Again, if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe. And thank you for bonding with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for sticking it out with us, guys. I hope you guys were blessed, and we wish you an amazing weekend. Till next time, we'll see you.
All right, guys, take care.